Hey, welcome to the shop. So we're heading into the holiday season. I've had to rev up the heater for the first time this year, and it just gets me thinking about gifts. The project is going to be these branding irons for steaks. They're relatively straightforward to make, except cutting out shapes like this by hand can be really difficult, and so that's where it's better to let a robot do the work. Now, if you're thinking, I don't know how to use CAD or I don't have a CNC machine, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly what to do. We're going to use some free software and an online laser cutting service to get these cut out. This is Inkscape. It's a free open source software you can download online, and it's what I use for designing decorative parts. I use different software for mechanical parts that I can show in another video. The first thing I'm going to do is go into my document properties and change my units to inches, because that's what I'm most familiar with working in, and set my document size. Now, something important to understand about files for laser cut parts, or really any kind of CNC operation, what you need is a vector graphics file. Now, what's special about a vector graphics file is that the images are made up of curves that are defined mathematically rather than a grid of pixels that are turned white or black or something like that. One of the challenges is that a lot of the images you might want to use are probably a JPEG or a bitmap or something like that, and you'll need to convert it. Let me show you how to do that. I'll click File, Import, and then select a copy of my logo that is a black and white JPEG for us to convert. It'll have a dialog box. I'll just click OK and move it into the center, but it's too large, so I can resize it using those boxes at the top. I used 2 inches or about 50 millimeters. Last year I used 3 inches. I'll click Path and Trace Bitmap to perform the conversion. Over here I can click Update to show a preview and Apply to actually perform the conversion. Now, in general, the factory default settings work pretty well for this tool to convert the bitmap into a vector graphics file. But sometimes if you're not dealing with like a black and white silhouette, you need to play with the settings a little bit to try to get a good result. The new vector image is sitting right on top of the old one, so I'll slide it to the side, allowing me to select the old image, press delete to get rid of it, and move the new one back into place. Here I want to visualize it a different way, so I'm going to go down in the lower left corner and click where it says Fill and Stroke, and then on Stroke Paint, that's the outline, I'll select black, and then I'll go over on Fill and select No Fill. You can see there's actually an extra line here that I don't want cut, so I need to edit that, but they're all connected together. I'll just go up here to Path and then Break Apart, and that'll separate them. I can click on the one I want to get rid of, click Delete, and then it's done. Well, that's all we need to do to create our vector graphics file. Now we can save it as a DXF file. Now, DXF is the file extension that you'll use most commonly with CNC CAM software or when you're ordering laser cut parts like we're going to here. Saving the file is simple. I just go File, Save As, and then I can select a DXF. I'll go with the latest version here, though it probably would work fine either way. Once I name it and click Save, I'll click OK on the dialog box and then find it in my Explorer and drag it into Send Cut Send's website. Now, Send Cut Send is the laser cut service that I'm going to be using here today. It shows that it's 49 millimeters by 49 millimeters. That's right around that 2-inch square that I was looking for. I'll select steel, and just mild steel should be fine for this. I'm going with a 1/4 inch thick, that's just over 6 millimeters, and I'm just going to order one of these. While I'm at it, I've added a few other things to the cart that I'll show you in a few minutes. Make sure to check for a current discount code down in the description to save you 15%. So once the parts are here, it's always fun to open these up and take a look at them, and it's just really incredible the kind of detail that you get from a laser cut part. I'll just take a quick flyover with the brown Scotch-Brite pad to clean things up, and then cut a couple of 10-inch long pieces of 3/8 inch cold rolled rod for the handles. I'm going to deburr it on this belt grinder that I built a few weeks ago on the channel. I'm sure liking this thing. And then this is a rod bender that I built on the channel, about a year or so ago, and it works great too, just to put a little bend in the handle for it. You can guess what's coming next. Before you weld it, make sure it's oriented the right way. If you're wondering why my welder sounded like a hippopotamus sneeze, that's because it's set up for pulsed MIG welding, which I'm going to use on a project that you'll see coming out in December. I'm really happy with how these turned out. I've never made one with that internal detail before, so it'll be interesting to see how it actually works, if I'm able to see the picture inside or if it's just too small. And it actually turned out pretty good. One of the other things I designed is a little aluminum sign to go in my toolbox. Let me show you how I drew that up right in Inkscape and exported the file for that. I just used the rectangle tool to draw a rectangle that's about 8 inches wide by 4 inches tall, and there's a handle on the side I can drag to adjust how round the corners are. I need to now put in a text box, and I'll type in some words there, and then I'll move those around and edit them like a regular text editor. Notice it's a stencil font where the center of letters are connected. There's one final important step. That is to highlight everything, click on Path, and Combine. That'll make it all one congruent image, and I can click File, Save As, and select DXF once again. I ordered up one other item. It's a cool little stencil. I had it cut out of chipboard. Now, chipboard is an affordable prototyping material. It's really a lot like thin cardboard, and it's great for something like this. And think about putting that in the card instead of a Hallmark card. It costs about the same amount, just about $5. Hey, well, thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully you learned something or enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by hitting that thumbs up below, and we'll see you next time.